That's right, people. Motivation is the key to small business success, and that's exactly what we. What up, y'all? It's Sam at Thencan Designs here with another video to help your small business reach its big goals. In this video, I have 3 must-ask questions for explosive small business growth, and it all has to do with motivation. That's right, people. Motivation is the key to small business success. That's exactly what we'll be discussing in this video. This one's for my innovators, my future makers, and my risk takers. If you're looking for a little bit of motivation, or you're just looking to level up that small business of yours, then this video is for you. Let's do this. In this video, I will be discussing 3 thought leaders and the questions that they either directly ask or inspired me to ask while I was developing my small business, and will help keep me motivated, and I know will help keep you motivated with your small business. Let's start with our first thought leader, Amy Porterfield. If you're not familiar with Amy Porterfield, she is an online marketing expert and entrepreneur. At one point, she was working in an office and she didn't feel free. How many of you don't feel free right now in your 9-to-5 job? Well, Amy didn't feel free either, and she decided to break off and start her own life. She's the author of the book 2 Weeks Notice. Hold on a second, I got a copy. 2 Weeks Notice, which is a great read. I've just started reading it, so don't quiz me on it, but it's an awesome read so far. Amy decided to go all in, put in that 2 weeks notice, quit her job, and now she has built an online 8-figure business on her terms. How inspiring is that? Early on in the book, Amy asks her readers one question: what's your why? And that is the question that Amy Porterfield has spoke to me, and it has made me think, what is my why? So I turn around and I ask the question to you. What is your why? That's question number 1. The why is really the ignition for our motivation engine. How do we get this thing going? Well, we need to know why we're doing it. The going is going to get tough when we first start running our business. When that happens, we need to go back to our why. Why are we doing this? 3 tips for finding out what your why is. 1, let's look at some examples of potential whys. It could be helping your family, the freedom that you get from running your own business, or pursuing a passion. Think about it. What is your why, and how will it change your life? Number 2, let's identify and define that why, people. Like, seriously, sit down, take some time, work on your business, not in your business. That means defining the why. Number 3, use your why to drive your business decisions as you're starting off. This is excellent if you're in the early stages or you're in the level up stages. Go back to your why and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And if it's not clear, you need to think more. And once it's clear, you have a clear path. Let's shift gears to a new thought leader. Chris Wilson was incarcerated at the age of 17 and sentenced to life in prison. You can imagine how bleak those conditions could be. But Chris Wilson decided to change his path and change his life. And he did this by constructing a master plan, which is actually the title of his book that he has since written, which I also have a copy of. Hey, check this out. Signed copy. Pretty nifty. In the master plan, Chris Wilson details how he changed his life, and he started to give back to others around him inside of the prison where he was incarcerated. As he began to mentor men, he would ask them the question, what's your end game? And that's question number 2. What's your end game? Chris would ask this to himself, to his peers, and now, after almost 20 years of incarceration, he's been released. He's an author, he's a social entrepreneur, and an artist, and he goes around the world and he asks that question, what's your end game? And I think that we should apply that question to our businesses. What's your end game? What that's really about is breaking down long-term goals into shorter chunks. How can we make these more manageable? If your long-term goal is to have a business that makes you 6 figures a year and allows you to travel the world, and right now you're working part-time and on food stamps, it can be kind of hard to envision that future when it seems so far away. But if we look at that end game and slowly start working our way back, chunk by chunk, piece by piece, then we can accomplish anything. What's your end game? 3 tips for defining your end game. Number 1, brainstorm potential end games. Maybe you have a business and you're looking to expand to multiple locations. Maybe you have a business that you've had for years and you're trying to figure out, how do you pass this down to your children? Or maybe you're trying to get to a point where you're self-sufficient with your business. Whatever it is, start making a list so you can figure out what your end game is for your business. Tip number 2, set long-term goals and begin to develop your plan, your master plan. Once you figure out what your end game is, start working backwards. What are the milestones you need to hit along the way in your journey? Once you figure that out, you can break those little chunks down into measurable goals that you can do over time. Tip number 3, the impact of knowing your end game. When you know what your end game is, the goal is always in sight. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel, even when it seems so far away. At the start of this year, I didn't have a business, I didn't have an LLC, I didn't have anything. And now here I am on the precipice of going full-time with my own business and all this craziness, and it's kind of overwhelming. But I have an end game, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I keep going, and I know you can too. Get your end game figured out today. Let's switch to another thought leader. This one's going to get a little bit heavy, people, I admit, and it's going to take a little bit of a stretch to go from what he suggested to what I will suggest, but stick with me. Viktor Frankl was a renowned psychiatrist as well as a Holocaust survivor. Viktor Frankl endured the most abysmal human conditions, living in a Nazi death camp during World War II. He watched people around him die every day, but he took the opportunity to observe what was happening around him. And when he got out, he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. I don't have a copy of that book right now, but I've read it a couple times, and it's really inspiring. One of the things that Frankl observed during his time in the Holocaust was that people that were able to define a meaning to their life were more likely to survive. He would go on to found the field of logotherapy and psychiatry, an interesting field, basically saying that everybody has an inherent meaning and we should work towards finding that meaning in our lives. I think that this is super valuable, and I totally advocate for you finding your own personal meaning. But I want to shift our attention back to our businesses. The year is 2023, and it's not exactly the most stable time to start a business. But you know what? I'm doing it, you're doing it, and plenty of people out there are doing it right now. And I think that it's not a bad time to do it. But it's tenuous. Tons of people start businesses every year, and they fail. It's always a scary time to start a business, and it's particularly scary right now. Every decision you make is life or death for your business when it's first starting out, or when you're looking to grow. And that's why I challenge you to define a meaning for your business. What is its purpose? When you know what the purpose of your business is, just like a real human life, your business will be more likely to survive. So our third question is, what is the meaning of your business? Viktor Frankl didn't ask that question directly, but he knew the importance of having a meaning for our lives. Now let's find a meaning for our business so that we can make our own lives even better. Heck, maybe having a business and owning your own business is your meaning to your life. All the more reason to find a meaning for your business. 3 tips for finding a meaning for your business. Number 1, identify your business's meaning. Sit down. Think about it. What is your business trying to do? Think on a higher level. How does your business contribute to the greater good of society? Even if you have a small flower shop in a tiny little town, think about the moments that you create by crafting these beautiful bouquets. Or maybe you're a real estate agent in a bigger town. You might think, what purpose do I really serve? But think about the opportunities you're creating for families as they buy their first home. I believe that most of us are trying to contribute to the greater good. And if we can tie our small business's meaning into that, how awesome is that? Tip number 2, infuse your business's meaning into daily operation. This is exactly why people make mission statements, visions, and values for their companies. Because if you can have it plastered on the wall, if you can say it At the drop of a hat, if you know what the meaning of your business is, then you know where to head. And that's tip number 3. It is so vital for your business's survival to have a meaning, because when it comes time for that fork in the road where you can go left or you can go right, your meaning will help guide you. You have to constantly adjust your sails to succeed as a business owner. So why not come up with a meaning now, right now, and let it guide you on your course? Creating a business is no easy task, but it's a little bit easier when you keep 3 questions in your back pocket. Ask Amy Porterfield's question, what's your why? What is the why for your business? Why are you doing this? For me, I want to live the life I want to live. And I'm not saying that I can't do that, working 9 to 5 or 7 to 5 like I'm doing right now. But being able to set my schedule and being able to work for myself, now that's something I've always wanted to do. And I'm willing to take a leap to try it out. The second question you have to ask yourself is, what's your end game? What do you hope to accomplish? I can see myself living in the realm of financial security and also helping people while I'm making money along the way. That sounds like the American dream to me. Number 3, what's the meaning to your business? Meaning is key for survival, and it can be key for the survival for our business. My greater good is I want to be able to help my clients. I want to look back at the end of the year, and I don't want to look at the balance sheet. I want to look back at my testimonials. I want to look back at my client success stories. I want to know that their businesses grew, that they did reach their big goals. That's why I say that in front of every video. And you know what? I bet the balance sheet will come with it. 3 amazing thought leaders, Amy Porterfield, Chris Wilson, and Viktor Frankl. We have a powerful woman with an 8-figure online business. We have a social entrepreneur who is making money while trying to change the world and the criminal justice system. And we have a man that survived the worst conditions that a human can imagine. And his message still rings true today, and I think we should be applying that message to more facets of our life. Folks, starting a business will not be easy. Many of us will go out and will fail. There's a good chance that I might not make it out. But you know what? I think that 3 questions that we've discussed today can help all of us. What's your why? Define it right now. What's your end game? Figure it out. Start heading towards it. And what is your business's meaning? Use that as your guiding light as you need to make twists, turns, decisions. And you know what happens next, folks? I think your small business will reach its big goals. If you need a website to do that, head over to thencandesigns.com and let me take care of that. In the meantime, keep asking yourself the 3 questions, and I'm excited to see what comes next for you on your journey. Until next time.